Hi, my name is Beth, and you're listening to the Canna Fitness and Nutrition Podcast, where we are hanging out at the intersection of fitness, nutrition, and cannabis. Thank you so much for pressing play today. If you're new here, thanks for checking it out. I'm Beth, personal trainer and cannabis educator, owner of CannaFit. If you are coming back, then thanks for coming back. We're going to talk about perfectionism and that all or nothing thinking that is pervasive in the fitness industry and how cannabis can help you. I know it sounds like a reach, but trust me on this one. So this one is for those of you who are trying to eat clean every meal, never miss a workout, drink a gallon of water a day, and it's just not enough, right? What if cannabis is the missing piece to your wellness? For years, I was caught in this perfectionism, but also punishing cycle, right? I would eat clean. I was like, okay, I'm going to eat clean every single day, every single meal. I would prep the meals. I had them all planned and stacked in the fridge. And I had my workouts all every day. I was going to hit the gym. And I had my, back in the day, I'm chuckling because there was a time in gym life where we were all walking around with like gallon jugs of water. Like that was just a thing for a little while. So anyway, I had my gallon jug, right? But then if I went out to eat with a friend, had a cookie, had a piece of cake, had whatever snack they were having in the break room, if I, quote unquote, slipped and had one of those or anything that wasn't on the plan, I was done. I was done. Even if it was Monday afternoon, I was done. Rest of the week, just threw it to the wind, and I would just go hog wild. And then, you know what? I am driving through Burger King and Taco Bell, and because I had like one cookie, right? And I just thought, well, you know what? That's a perfectionism loop. It's like, well, I'm not perfect, so I'm not going to be anything. Mondays became horrible, actually. It was like a ritual of shame. It was like, here we are again. It's Monday. I'm going to have to run an extra 3 miles because I ate so much crap over the last week. And here we go. Here's my cucumber slices because I can't eat anything because now I'm back on my plan or whatever. But all I did was make myself feel bad about myself because I thought that I needed to be perfect in order to get the body I wanted, to see the changes, to see my thighs get smaller, my belly gets flatter, and my arms get more toned. I thought I had to be perfect. But instead of having a cookie on Monday and then just waking up on Tuesday and just getting right back to it, I'd let the shame spiral me into pints of Ben & Jerry's, bakery muffins, chips. Well, not so much chips. Chips sometimes. I'm not really a chip person, but it was mostly sweets. Ben & Jerry's. One time, here's a fun fact. If you listen to this podcast, you're going to hear my secret of all secrets. One time, I ate 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's in one sitting. Yeah, it's true. Anyway, so until I started using cannabis, slowed down more and started noticing how I was behaving. It wasn't until I learned how to slow down that I noticed that I was just doing this in a loop. Like I was trying to be perfect and I wasn't perfect. So then I would go completely the opposite direction. It was classic all or nothing thinking, right? Because here's the truth. One ice cream cone does not ruin your progress, right? If you skip the gym one day, you had a long work day, you skip the gym one day, that's not the end of the world. Or if you have pizza on Friday nights, that doesn't erase your whole week of healthy choices. One thing here and there is not going to make or break. It's the full picture. It's looking at the whole picture. And as I learned, I started to change my perspective into a bigger picture perspective. And that's what I help clients with today, because it's so common to get stuck in this. Oh, I was trying to be good this week, but then we had pizza and now I blew it. And now I'm just going to have pizza all weekend because why not? I'm a fat pig. And that's just not true. And that's dangerous thinking, because now you really are ruining it by not just getting right back on it the next day, but by spiraling into a pizza fest for the whole weekend. Now you really are ruining it. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what we really are looking at is overall consistency and the big picture. So a year at a time, instead of thinking of days and weeks, start thinking about months and years, right? When you think about a year, 365 days long, 365 days of a year. If you have pizza on Friday nights every week for a year, that's still only 52 days out of 365, right? That's a tiny fraction. So when you look at the big picture, it becomes not as big a deal. And it helps to shift from the all or nothing thinking, where we're like week by week, we're like, oh my God, I had pizza on Friday and now everything is ruined because it was only 4 days of good and 1 day of bad. But when you start to extend that out into a bigger picture, then it's not so bad. I like to do the math on this, where there's 365 days in a year. And generally, if you say, quote unquote, on track or eat healthy, about 80% of the time, then we consider that golden, right? But if you take 80% of 365, it's like 200 and something days, right? And it leaves you with about 2 days a month. No, that's wrong. It leaves you with about 6 days a month to be, quote unquote, off track. Right? That's big picture thinking. So, that's a lot. That's pizza once a week. So you can absolutely be consistent 80% of the time, which will get you weight loss, but still have pizza once a week, because we're looking at the whole year. I think part of the problem with all or nothing thinking is that we're so focused on the immediate and the quick gratification, the quick satisfaction, and the quick results. But that's not how it works. I've been a personal trainer for over 16 years, so I've seen this firsthand. I've seen it myself in my own body, and I've seen it with clients. Nothing happens quickly. Nothing. I've had people come in and be like, I need to get in shape for my daughter's wedding. I'm like, great, when is it? Next month. They're like, well, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to lose weight that fast. That's not how the body works. And it's definitely not something that I would promote, because I am all about moderation. So consistency, it's less about being perfect and more about just general, how you picture your whole world, how you picture the whole year, how you frame out the next 6 months of consistency. So my recommendation is, when you're looking at, especially if you're looking at weight loss, is really to plan out the next 6, 9, or 12 months of the year and how you're going to eat for those 6, 9, 12 months. It's not the day-to-day. It is the day-to-day, but it's the bigger picture. So if you've got a vacation coming up, great. Go on vacation. Enjoy yourself. It's not going to ruin your progress, because that's 1 week out of 52. And if you work in moderation the other 51 weeks, then that 1 week is not going to be a big deal, right? It's just simple math. Consistency is not about being perfect. Consistency is not perfection. And in order to make progress with your goals, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And my philosophy is that this consistency needs to blend into your actual life. So including vacations, including Friday pizza nights, including dinners out, including fun things and ice cream in the summer and, cookies in the holidays. But it's about the mentality of it and not trying to be perfect. Like, for example, holidays are a big deal. People will come and say, well, this year I'm going to try not to eat any cookies because I always eat too many cookies at the holidays. And that's because they have an all or nothing approach to those cookies. Why does it have to be all the cookies at Christmas? Why can't you just have a couple cookies at Christmas and a couple cookies in February and a couple cookies in March and have a couple cookies all year long? Why does it have to be so significant at one time or another? Why can't it just be evened out? Because we don't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be 0 cookies, but it also doesn't need to be 100 cookies. It's the middle. There's a middle in there, right? And the middle for you might look different than the middle for me, and that's okay. What I do in coaching is I help you figure out what the middle is for you. And then we work from there, because that's the place where you're going to be able to sustain. It's just not sustainable to say, I'm not going to have any Christmas cookies. But it's also not going to work if you say, well, F it, I'm going to have all the cookies. Well, that's not going to help either. So you can't just be like, I don't care, I'm going to eat all of them. But you also can't be like, well, I've got to be perfect, I'm going to have none. There's got to be a middle. Now, here's the thing where cannabis comes in. Cannabis has helped me, and it helps a lot of people with this black and white all or nothing thinking. It comes into your body, the cannabinoids like CBD and the low-dose THC in particular. They interact with our body's endocannabinoid system. And the endocannabinoid system is a system in your body that actually has been recently discovered, like 1990s recently discovered in our body. And it keeps all the other systems in our body in check, including your stress hormones, including your mood hormones, including your digestive system, your cardiovascular system, all of the hormone production. And so it keeps balance in your body. It supports your nervous system significantly. So if you're into nervous system regulation, cannabis is great for nervous system regulation. Reduces your reactivity to stress. And in those ways, it shifts us out of that black or white thinking. So it's no longer, I need to be perfect or I need to be all bad. It's all not black and white. It's not all or nothing. It's not good or bad. Cannabis helps shift us into the middle, into a more medium, a more moderation choice. It's magical to me. I love it. It is science. The endocannabinoid system is very real. And CBD interacts with the endocannabinoid system, as does THC. Low dose THC is usually better for this than high dose, just because it is intoxicating. So sometimes that can cloud things. But once I started using cannabis, instead of moralizing every choice, I began experiencing food and movement as nourishment, joy, freedom, because I wanted it, because it felt good, not because I had to, and not because of punishment. Cannabis became a mirror reminding me healing, wellness, fitness, health isn't about perfection. It's about doing it. It's about being in it. It's about being present. So if you're craving support and you need help untangling your self-worth from performance and you're interested in exploring cannabis as a tool for regulation and self-compassion, that's what we do in my program. It's coaching, it's a little bit of psychology, right? But some science with cannabis, and we use a moderation approach. So if any of that sounded familiar and you can relate, then I would love to work with you. If you have any questions or just want to chat about your journey or have any questions for the podcast, reach out. I can be emailed beth@cannafitnessnutrition.com, or you can hang out with me on Instagram, send me a DM. It's Beth_Canna Fitness Nutrition. I will see you next time. Thanks for listening.